Hi everyone, welcome to the new season. Welcome to Solstice and welcome to Cancer season. This is like every other thing that's happening this year, a very rare start of a season because right at the start of the season, we have a solstice solar eclipse. Solar eclipse brings about new shifts, karmic new shifts in our life, new beginnings. It's the time when something is given to us which is part of our karmic path, which is part of our fate, which is a part of our growth cycle. North Node, which is involved in this eclipse, normally gives us something to work on, which is part of us moving to the next level in our life. And in Cancer, usually we are not pursuing that. It is something that is given to us. We are receiving that. Cancer is a feminine sign. It is a sign that normally is uh, not in a pursuit of something. It is in a pursuit of emotional growth. It is in a pursuit of expansion emotionally, but it is not a aggressive sign. It is not a sign of persuasion. It is not a sign of pursuing somebody. It is a sign which receives to some extent. And wherever Cancer is in our zodiac sign, wherever Cancer is in our birth chart, we tend to receive something over there. We tend to be more in a receptive mode over there. And that is where most of our growth comes to some extent through our own emotional expansion. Things come to us because we are emotionally ready for those things to come to us. Similarly, through this eclipse, something is received by us because we are emotionally ready to receive them. And this has been in making over the course of last 18 months with North Node in Cancer. North Node in Cancer over the course of last 18 months has been teaching us to shift our priorities. We have had South Node in the zodiac sign of Capricorn. South Node is what we release. North Node is what we achieve, what is part of our future growth journey. So, as a part of this balance between the North Node and South Node over the course of last 18 months, we have been walking this thin line of balance between what the world wants from us and what we need for our growth, what we need for our safety, for us to feel at home, what we need for our own emotional stability to some extent. And this imbalance has been shown in different ways where we were put in the position where we were asked to choose between two paths in our life. Paths which involved one, which was part of the world growth, the growth that appeals to authorities, or the way to be that appeals to authorities, or the way to be which the world wants us to be. And the other side, North Node in Cancer, was all about being how we want to be, how we think within ourselves we need to be. Cancer is the sign of home and family. So the balance between home and family and career, or what we need for ourselves, for our emotional journey, versus what we need for growing in a material fashion. That balance between the two has been coming to question over the course of last 18 months. We have experienced that balance get questioned at a global level over the course of last 6 months as well. Do we want to protect our family, our personal life, our people, versus do we want to protect the economy, the growth in the of the large corporations, of the cold GDP growth versus the health and the caring and the nurturing of the people in the organization and society. So many of us have had to make those choices over the course of last 18 months. And the eclipses that are happening in the season of Cancer, we'll have two eclipses this season. We have one which is a solar eclipse happening now, which will impact us for the next 6 months. And then we have a lunar eclipse which is happening on 5th of July. These two eclipses will again bring that question up in our life. But this eclipse specifically happening at 0 degree of Cancer is here to give us a new start on the basis of all that we have learned, all that we have pursued, all we have grown from over the course of last 18 months. And it is happening at the degree of a sharp turning point. This is a actional degree where our allegiance to the new life will be tested to some extent. This is a degree which in Samian astrology is depicted as on a ship the sailor lowers an old flag and he raises a new one. This is a turning point for many of us, a point of no return, a radical change of allegiance to our own path in life. And there will be a symbolic act that will be done to show where we stand. An individual will take a decision with a force pushing them to begin its 6 months long rise in power. Rudia said that about 0 degree Cancer, and it cannot be more appropriate right now. The next 6 months, we are going to have Mars in its own sign in Aries, and Mars is going to make a very strong aspect to this eclipse at the end of this month, around 28th of June, which will feel from the start of this eclipse all the way to early part of July. We'll be driven to act towards this new path. We'll be driven to make this happen. And the next 6 months, it will take everything out of us to make it happen. And this is not what we thought, this is not the path where we thought we will go. There is a radical change of allegiance. The individual will be making a free decision, a decision to select his life goal, his allegiance, which may be away and will possibly be in contradiction with authority, in contradiction with what the world thinks is success, in contradiction with what the authorities in its life feels is right for them. You will find your decision might be in conflict with what the others in your life think you should be doing. And this is going to come with a declaration, it will come with a gesture. And we are right now in a season where Mercury is retrograde. Mercury is all about communication. So when Mercury, the planet that rules communication, is retrograde, meaning it appears to be moving backward instead of moving on its regular path, we are going to experience delay in that gesture. We're going to experience delay in declaration to some extent. Or even if we declare, we will find ourselves taking a few modifications, a few changes in that messaging. This is about declaring your path, who you love, who you hate, who you stand for. This is a shift of allegiance. And we will see that allegiance shift not just in our personal life, we'll see that politically happening as well. This is change in one's direction in life in accordance with one's new belief system. And this will be coming with a lot of trouble letting go of a past. There will be a difficulty to some extent to let go of a past, but letting go of that past will open us to a completely different way of being, opening to a new adventure in life, opening to emotional susceptibility, opening to this heartfelt allegiance to a new way of being where you're taking care of yourself, your family, your potential, taking care of your own need to some extent. And this is about creation of a business, of an organization, of a body that serves the needs of people. This is not about cold cash. This is about needs of people in your life. This is about need of you. This is about what you need to do to make a ideal happen. And this is coming with a detour. This is coming with an aspect which actually I have not seen even one astrologer talk about it with respect to this specific eclipse, which I was surprised about. And it speaks volumes about the teachers in the past who have taught this aspect and asked us to pay attention to it. It comes with a detour. It comes with a quincunx. Quincunx, or in conjunction, is a very strong aspect. Many of you who have Yod in their in their charts, in their birth charts, they cannot ignore this aspect. When we have a, a, a in conjunction formed during an eclipse, it is highlighted. It is highlighted especially in the chart of the people who have a yod or a in conjunction in their chart. In conjunction are two planets who have nothing in common with each other, and they come together and they butt their heads with each other. And Sun and Saturn, or this eclipse and Saturn, are butting their heads against each other during this eclipse at the exact 0 degree, at the exact cardinal degree. So we have Sun and Moon in Cancer making an in conjunction with Saturn. Normally, the interpretation of that is delay. Interpretation of that is adjustment, need to adjust. Uh, I think this is deeper than this, and the teachers who have I follow, they believe as well. This is much, much deeper than this. And one of the teachers that I follow, they have described this beautifully. This is in conjunction is an aspect which is, yes, it's a detour, but people don't dig deeper behind the reason for that detour. And have patience with me as I explain this. It's not just for the astrology lovers, it's for anybody who wants to understand what's happening right now in a deeper fashion. When two planets make an in conjunction to each other, it's like a person who was going for a job interview. Imagine you were going for a job interview, you really wanted that job. You have studied and educated on that line for the last 25 to 30 years, and you know that's what you want to do, and you're going for it, and you know you're going to get it. And then, right before you're getting in the building, there's a dug up in front of that building, and you cannot take that road, so you have to take a detour. So the man goes about a roundabout way. This is the detour that many of the people describe as in conjunction, and they would possibly, you would think that's it, yeah, he's taken a detour. But what happens during that detour is very important, and we are all right now on a detour. So when that detour happens, this man is taking a different road, and he suddenly sees a bookshop, and he says, okay, let me just go in. He just felt like he was drawn to go in. He goes over there, he reads an astrology book, and as he's going through it, he starts understanding himself so much better. And it can be anything. It could be a subject that you love. It doesn't have to be astrology. And that opens that man up to a different life. And suddenly that job interview feels nothing of value. Everything that he's studied over the course of last 30 years has not felt anywhere close to reading that book. And in that moment, he knows that that's his passion. And he decides to make that detour even longer, and he pursues that subject. He takes a certification in that, and then he gets a job in that. So he did get a job, but you have to realize that detour shifted his life direction. So we all are in a process of detour, and I'm not going to take the name of that detour. We all know what that detour is right now, which has completely flipped our existence. But through that detour, the destination is completely shifted. The destination for most of us has shifted, whether we realize it or we don't, but where we are going to, it has shifted. And this eclipse at 0 degree, cardinal degree of new start, new beginnings, the mother of all new beginnings, happening in the zodiac sign of Mother, nurturing mother, Cancer, who knows where to take a child when they're truly crying to get somewhere, is taking us to a place of safety, a place of comfort, a place of our heart's desire, a place where our sensitivity, our emotions, our inner core, our values, they're taken care of. We're making sense of an experience deeper than we have before. And this eclipse will bring that out of you, not so much in a easy fashion, because Cancer is not an easy sign. It is a sign which moves through emotion, moves through heart, moves through intuition, moves through knowing that something has fulfilled its purpose and now it needs to be done in a different fashion. Personal and collective turning point beyond which there is no going back. That is what 0 degree of Cancer stands for. And there is a declaration that comes with it. There's a gesture which comes with it, which marks that new beginning. But this is a detour from where you were going. This is a destination which is different from where you were going. And we're going to put meats on the bone. I'm going to go, this is not going to be a regular video. We're going to go over each of the sign because I want you to understand where you are experiencing this right now, or where you will experience that over the course of next 4 weeks. We have not had something like this before. And I to some extent, I did not think in some capacity that this could be felt so strongly, but having thought of this even more today, I cannot unsee it anymore. That we have to take a decision with a force that is pushing us to begin the 6 months journey in a direction different from we have before. And this is heavy with consequences. So you will take a decisive act, heavy with consequences, knowing the consequences. And that is why Mercury, the planet of thinking and talking, is retrograde right now. It is asking us to think about it fully before we get there, because there is a detour which is helping us see that where we need to go, the destination has shifted. So the new start will go through some amount of shifts and changes over the course of next 2 weeks, as there are going to be massive amount of disclosures that will happen till about 12th of July. You'll see that over the course of next 2 to 3 weeks that more and more information will come out about this. And we'll see that in the political arena as well, because we have Jupiter and Pluto together, burst of the bubble. I've been talking about it. When Jupiter and Pluto come together, which they are doing, and they'll be together throughout July, more and more disclosures coming out, bubbles will burst, our own personal bubbles will burst. We thought we were going somewhere, and we have changed as a person. In that detour that has happened, which is the last 6 months, we have changed as a person. And many of us have not acknowledged that to ourselves, but we have. So when you start living the next 2 to 3 weeks, you will see that you have changed as a person, and hence the new start and the new life in the next 6 months need to be lived in going towards a very different destination. And it will open you up to something completely different. Sometimes we don't know what we need, but the fate takes us there. And this is one of those eclipses that is going to take us where we need to go. This is an eclipse of mother. This is an eclipse of Cancer. Cancer is the mother. Mother knows where we need to go. At least a nurturing mother knows where we need to go to feel safe, to feel comfortable. It knows how to tell us what we need, not what we want. So what you're going to get is possibly not where you thought you were going. You were going for a job interview towards a completely different destination, and you're going to land, in my view, at a different destination. But is that part of your growth? Yes, of course it is. This is North Node. You cannot escape your destiny here. But it's going to be a little bit different in structure of what you thought it would be. And it will show you, it will show up as possibly a conflict even with an authority. And we'll experience that in the coming week. There could be a blockage or hardship from authority, or a rule, or a father figure. There could be a disapproval. There could be a lack of boundary that will come up. This is in conjunction, usually shows boundary issues, that maybe we have been taking a lot of burden off others here, and because of that burden, we have been making choices that were not right for us. And in that whole friction of disapproval, of harsh criticism possibly, it will give you the ability to push. It will give you the ability to have this true self-reliance. Remember, a mother can lift a whole car if their child is in danger. And this is one of those eclipses where you are going to lift whatever is needed. You will not realize, but something within you will pull you into a direction where you normally would need a lot of courage to go in that direction. But because your inner child, because your safety, because your comfort, your boundary is being encroached upon, and we'll see that in the global events, boundaries being encroached upon. These this eclipse is happening on Indo-China border. Boundaries being encroached upon. Wherever the boundaries are being encroached upon, extreme expression will happen. So, as I said, a mother, when she sees a child in danger, can lift a car, can do anything in that, the sentiment that is released in that moment when our security, when our safety, when our boundary is being pushed to a certain limit, we'll refuse to take on the burden of others there and do what is right for us. But this eclipse in the next 1 week to 2 weeks will show you imbalance in boundaries. Imbalance in boundaries in form of where you're sort of taking on burden of others. Taking on burdens of others only enables others to take no responsibility of their own life, and we'll see that it won't lead to acceptance. It will only lead to our burnout, and that burnout will show up. This chronic fatigue which we feel during Cancer eclipses, it normally happens when our boundaries are being taken advantage of. Too many people asking more of you. So saying no to unreasonable requests. And you'll find that the new start that you're doing, the new seed, and this is a very, very positive new start. It's happening at one of the best stars that are in the sky. It gives us fame, it gives us success. What is started right now is extremely, extremely successful. But what's happening is that it comes with, as I said, a detour, because maybe we need to know whether we are going in the right direction or not. It brings honors and wealth and fortune. The both the paths that the man was taking was leading him to a job, but they one was part of his soul journey and the other was not. So the detour is going to take you to the destination that is part of your soul path. Not necessarily what we want, but what we need. A mother gives what we need, not necessarily what we want. So, this comes with the whole definition of why in conjunction is called a compromise, because the destination is different. From that man's perspective, it was not really a compromise when he got there. He felt that in his bones, that was part of his journey, and that feeling in your bones is something worth pursuing right now. Mercury is retrograde in Cancer. Cancer is a sign of symbolism, signs, imagery, intuition. When Mercury is retrograde in Cancer, it teaches us to trust our intuition. It teaches us to loosen the hold that we have on our mind on the basis of what others say and what the corporation says and what the authority says, and listen to our inner voice. The inner voice gets louder when Mercury is retrograde in Cancer. So you will find yourself listening to your own instinct. Billy Wilder, he had his son at this degree. A very successful director, writer, screenplayer. He wrote Sunset Boulevard, and when he wrote Sunset Boulevard, he brought 2 or 3 actors out of their retirement to do that movie. It's normally not what people would do. Bring out Gloria Swanson out of her retirement, and then he made. He made a movie with Greta Garbo. I'm forgetting the name. I think Ninchaka, I think so. Yeah, so Greta Garbo was like a tragic heroine, right? The melodrama heroine. And he was like, I'm going to make comedy with her. And that was a complete career change for her took her into a completely different direction. Some Like It Hot with Marilyn Monroe. I mean, it completely changed the the style of movies, the screen lining, and doing those things. Why he did all of those things? He said, trust your own instinct. Your mistakes might as well be your own instead of someone else. So, Cancer season, Mercury retrograde, the next 3 weeks, you're gonna find yourself digging deeper and finding a very different voice coming out of your own inside. And it will be complemented with the information and the disclosures which will be happening in front of you, because the second eclipse start getting activated as well. The 4th or 5th of July eclipse is happening in the zodiac sign of Capricorn. It's about administration, it's about rules, it's about bosses, it's about the authorities. And with the full moon in Capricorn, there are disclosures which happen, authority of life changes. The people, we see more information on people or destinations we were considering to be right and correct. There's more information that is revealed. If you were going, it's like when that man is walking towards that job, and there is, he didn't see that behind his building there were slave owners or something like that. And it's like a disclosure about where you were going was not right for your path. So there is, in these 3 weeks of Mercury retrograde, there is both internal information and external disclosures which are going to happen. Sorry, if I'm panting while talking. This eclipse is a little bit, I'm a water sign. This eclipse is a little bit heavy for me, and that's why I'm sorry I'm doing this video a little bit late as well. But it's like he said, Billy Wilder, as I said, trust your own instinct over here. And there is more from where that came. You're going to hear more of you in the next 2 or 3 weeks. Your mistakes might as well be your own instead of somebody else's. So the choice has to be yours. You have to have a dream so you can get up in the morning, and that dream is going to scream louder and louder during these 2 or 3 weeks. What we need to be careful about is the external display of that emotion. When we have Mercury in Cancer, that to retrograde, and then Sun in Cancer, the emotions are heightened. So the external display of emotions can sometimes get us in trouble during this time, in the sense of showing our cards too much to the other person when we are not yet ready or made up our mind, when we have not yet decided, or there's more to be seen in terms of information. So saying things too quickly, deciding things too quickly. On 30th of December, 30th of June, Sun and Mercury will meet each other, and then around the same time, Mars is making a aspect with this eclipse. By month end, I'm telling you, the next 10 days, by month end, you will have clarity over it, in my view. You will have more clarity with Sun and Moon coming together. When Sun and Moon come together, we seed a new idea. So if you have something like a new business idea, a new thing, and as I said, I mean, we have been working on this for the last 18 months. So there's something burning inside you to start, something being compelled, that you're emotionally compelled to start, to sort of go for it, because that's your safety zone, that's your security zone, that's what feels home to you, whether it's a relocation, it's a new job, or it's a new business that you're starting. I would suggest that wait for the 30th of June conjunction, or even if you start right now, just know that the 30th of June will give you a good opportunity to plant that seed. Our mind will be reborn. You will have a new way of doing the things after that. There's going to be huge amount of activity to move from past to the new with 30th of June conjunction. And after that is the experimental stage, when we start moving forward, starting new business, new job, making major purchases, getting ready for it. It doesn't mean that we start doing them, because Mercury is retrograde to 12th of July. Any major decisions, in my view, in terms of signing papers, investing in something, accepting a job offer, my suggestion is to do after 12th. But what happens is that after 30th of June, we can start paving the way. We can start working forward, putting down the paperwork, getting ready for it, not signing it yet, not fully committing to the idea, but getting ready to put the bricks for the thing to come together. And it's the time when you're going to be compelled to do it. You'll feel you want to sort of test the untried, you want to market new ideas, you want to put the forward thrust. There'll be a need for full creative freedom which comes with it. You should do that, seizing all opportunities of growth and expansion. And this is happening in the month when Jupiter and Pluto are together. You'll be sort of be driven to do something, to sort of move away from an old economy to a new one. When Jupiter and Pluto are together, as I said, there's a prick of the old bubble, old economy. We'll see, unfortunately, some amount of bankruptcies in the month of July when this happens. There will be a clear shift from old evolution cycle to new in a financial system, in the economy. But Jupiter and Pluto is a catalyst for growth, a growth for which the old cycle needs to come to an end. And the accomplishment would be away from old evolution cycle here, not in the old cycle, not in the old jobs, careers, methods of following them. So if we'll try to hold on to the old one, we'll find that the 4th or 5th of July eclipse will burst some bubbles for us, because that is a south node eclipse. It is an eclipse of release, endings, shift of authorities, many authority figures stepping down. I'll talk about that eclipse in detail in a separate video. This is about the new start. So just be flexible with this new start, in the sense that the end destination is different from possibly what you started about 18 months back, and be ready to solidify in a different direction with it. Now let's get into individual sign. That's what I wanted to do in this video. I'm going to put timestamp below in the comments for you to go to your own sign, or I'll try to generate individual sign videos for you to look at, so you can get to your own specific sign. Let's go into individual signs now.